Hello Pisces! Thank you very much for tuning into this week's read. For the main part of the read, I'm using the Tarot Illuminati by Eric C. Dune. That's what that is. And the supportive oracle cards, Queen of the Moon Oracle, right? Yep. Queen of the Moon Oracle by Stacy DeMarco. There you go. Just started using this Tarot of the Illuminati, and I'm kind of liking it. Like, it's got different imagery, it gives different information in my opinion, so I'm liking the fresh perspective. So let's get into it, because I'm kind of excited to see what's going to happen here. You know, as a Pisces myself, I will say that. There's this, that's interesting. Okay, I'm already very, like, as a Pisces, like I love to say that when I'm doing Pisces readings. Like, this is good. This is good. You got a great ending. I'm saying this as a Pisces, but like, you're going through something. Like, this is not, the whole thing is not this, the whole thing is not just, you know, sunshine and rainbows. I feel like the people this is going to hit for, you're like, yeah, no. You're like, that's okay. I know it's not. Nope. Because currently, either you're heading for this, or you're already at this point of like, like, what is happening? I don't want to do this. I don't feel right. I don't feel like this is working the way it should. And you might be resisting your own inner voice, is what I'm already getting. It's like if you're finding yourself getting angry over a certain subject, it might be because you're resisting your own inner voice. At least that happens for me, just to be fair, because like if that doesn't happen for you, cool. Just like, it's how I'm relating to this though. Coming into this situation, you have a lot of strength. You got the King of Wands. I love it. Don't get caught up in the gender, as I always say. So no matter who you are, what your gender is, if you're connecting to this Pisces energy, you knew what you want. You knew what you wanted. You came in, you're like, I'm going to do this. And you had full command of your faculties. I'm choosing this. I'm going here. I want that. I'm going for it. This is really good. This is great for Pisces. Great. Because when you go towards something and you make the choice and you're like, I'm choosing this and I'm going for this, you have the more likely, likely success. It's more likely than letting it come towards you and just kind of sitting there and waiting to kind of like float on by. And I find this, and you can call me out on this if you think I'm wrong, but I find a lot of other Pisces that I know, they wait for it to kind of float towards them. And then sometimes I watch how it floats towards them, and it's like it's within arm's reach and it floats on by, and it's like, unless it like literally just chooses them and touches them and like it, you know what I mean, they just kind of let it float on by. And I'm like, and I use this for like reference to my own life in the sense of like, I watch other people do this and I'm like, I start like questioning, am I doing that, and where am I doing that? Because like, am I letting things float on by? And this might be a good thing for the people who this is really connecting with. And I actually want to branch this out because, like, if you're anything like me, you're like, well, I am a Pisces, but today I'm going to watch a Capricorn video, or today I'm going to watch a Libra video. And I'm using those examples because I don't really think I have either of those in my chart. At least if they're there, they're down a ways and I don't notice them often. But I'm just like, if you're not actually a Pisces in any, like, sun, moon, or rising, or whatever you got going on, but you were drawn to this video, and this makes sense to you, where things kind of, like, just sometimes float on by you, they're saying when you choose, when you actually are the active chooser, you have a really good likely chance of success when you're choosing what you're going towards. Okay, that being said, when you got into this, you chose what you wanted to do. I feel like we went on for a long time, so I apologize for that. Queen of Pentacles, no, Princess of Pentacles. I feel more command with it though. Like, I feel like this person, when this situation came in, it feels like it was more commanding. I know it says princess, but I'm feeling stronger with that. Like, there's an energy here. It wasn't fully developed, and I give you that. But it seems like when I'm feeling princess, I think I have a stereotypical Disney princess in mind. And they usually don't start out that strong in the beginning of a movie. But I guess by the end they do. Some of them have more strength. And that's kind of what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like more like after they've gone through some things, there's still princess energy, but they have more strength. Don't get caught up in the gender or the word princess. I know some people have aversion to that, But this makes me feel like sometimes when you look at somebody and you don't understand what's really there, you don't understand, like you're getting caught up in a title and not what's actually behind the title and what brought somebody where they are today. And I feel like this is the situation. Like the situation, you went towards it, you chose it, it sounded good, it was what you thought you wanted. But there's the void here telling me when you got into it, it wasn't quite what you expected. Even if you were returning to something you knew previously, it might have felt like, well, this wasn't how I remember this, or this doesn't feel like it used to feel. So when you chose whatever you went towards and you got involved in it, there was a vacancy with it. And I feel like this is very interesting to you because kind of like I'm choosing this, I want that, I'm going towards it, and it's pentacles. So like you were invested. You're like, I'm gonna do this, but when you first started, it's kind of like there's a void. There's like this doesn't feel completely right to me. Yet you gave into it wholeheartedly. You got the world card here. I'm getting a lot of like energy with this part. Kind of like, no, this will work. It's just my nerves. I feel like that's when you started this. Kind of like, no, it's just my nerves. I chose this. I'm actively choosing. It makes me a little nervous, but I'm gonna do it. And you gave in wholeheartedly. Like the world is telling me, like for better, for worse, I am in. And I apparently had to snap my fingers on that. You were welcomed quite well. I'm getting the Ten of Cups is telling me the welcome wagon was there. Now, how far do we want to go with this? I hope that's not as fuzzy as I think it is. I hope you can see these cards better than I think you can, because I'm noticing in my viewfinder it's a bit fuzzy, so hopefully you can see these well. I feel like you got a good reception. Like, people welcomed you with open arms. I feel like it was a very good energy, a very positive energy. I don't feel people overly centered on you directly, but I feel like you kind of felt comfortable. But I almost feel like that's kind of like you were welcomed, but I don't feel anybody really centering or pushing their energy on you. I feel like that was comfortable, kind of like you weren't getting extra attention and you didn't really want it. Like, you were going towards something, you chose it, but it's just kind of like, it's kind of like you were a puzzle piece. You fit in. You weren't, like, you didn't feel like you were under the microscope, but it felt good, and you felt welcome. Even though I'm getting the reception was good, you were fully into this, something just didn't click. Something, like you were expecting it to feel differently than it actually felt is what I'm getting. Okay, now, for a lot of you, I feel like you're going into this next phase. For others of you, I understand you're in that first phase or heading towards that first phase, but they're trying to give you like a heads up about this road, because I feel like this is really, really good. And if you're in it, I feel like they're trying to give you a heads up about where it's going next so you can make out in a good way. If you're heading towards it, they're saying this is what you have to look forward to, but it's worth it. Because the end, I feel really, really, you got some really, really, really good cards at the end here, in which, I mean, they're good. Also, it's like we're going through this bump here, but I'm nervous to get into the center section because it's not that bad, but it feels like I'm connecting to it, and it makes me really uncomfortable because I feel like you have to come together with yourself and figure out the void. You have to define and figure out what this void is, because I don't feel it's not just you. It's not just you, but it's like what you're dealing with, what's coming at you, and how you want to view it versus what's actually in front of you. And it's like it's not all you. It's not like, how do I put this? It's like something is off, something isn't balancing correctly, something is wrong with the situation, and I feel like that's hard to say for some reason. It's almost like it makes me feel like this is kind of like a trap, not like a trap in a bad way, but kind of like you got to be careful how you view it. Like, you know something's wrong, but you don't know what's wrong at the same time. Like, you're connecting to it like this isn't right, but the angle you're looking at it is not giving you the correct answer. Like, something is off with the situation. That is true. I'm getting that something is off with the situation and you're seeing it, but what you think is wrong is not the actual problem, is what I'm getting. And it's like you got to look at this and you got to look deeper. And I feel like it's like realigning and figuring out where you really stand on certain things. Owning some of it, and kind of like, wait a minute, I need to step back because something isn't right here. Especially if you keep thinking about a situation and you keep getting frustrated. I feel like there's, ironically, I think these are really good indicators, and some people might argue with this. We'll see in the comments. When you start feeling like, I notice people feeling like I can't stand people, or they say something like, everything goes wrong. Or they have these blanket comments, like, you give somebody a chance and they'll nail you in the back, or something like that. Like, if they have a blanket comment like that, like, that's like, it's like a clue. Like, you're kind of getting it and you're kind of not at the same time. They're saying something is wrong here. You're part of you is identifying with it, and the frustration is boiling forward. But the reason those blanket comments are coming over, the reason you're blanketing it, is because you're not really touching on what the actual problem is. It's kind of like, I've tried to explain this to other people. I don't think I do it very well. Like when people say, I don't like people. I have friends who say that. And sometimes I question, like, do you like me? Like, because you don't, I'm a people. I'm a people, I'm a human. So I fit in the category of people. Not for nothing. But I don't say that to them, but I start to wonder. I'm like, but then they're very good friends of mine, and they like me, and I know they like me, and I like them. But, like, it's kind of like a blanket comment of fear. And it's kind of like saying, wait a minute, you need to go deeper. Something is tripping this response. Something is tripping this feeling. What is actually going on there? Because you have to go a little deeper and find out what is really bothering me. There is a problem. I'm getting there is a problem, but it's just you're not really touching on it. You're not really seeing it for what it is. The strength card here in the environment is telling me somebody's trying to uphold something that's not right. Something is definitely off balance. I don't feel good about the strength in the sense of like they're doing what they should. I'm feeling like they're trying to hold it together, but something is off balance. This is why they have to have the strength to hold it together. It's kind of like standing on top of a teetering tower and holding everything together. Like, that's not how that's meant to stand. Like, something needs to come back to reinforce it and fix it. If somebody's just constantly holding a tower together so it doesn't fall over, sooner or later they're going to pass out and it's going to fall over anyway. So something else has to come in here to fix it. Like, something else is wrong. That's kind of how I'm feeling about this card right now. And they're saying if you're really, really, really getting frustrated and you're getting angry especially, they're saying you're identifying that something's not right. That is good, depending on what you're doing with it. Depending on what you're doing with it. But the thing is, they're like, step back. And you got to step back and try to go third person on this. And like, wait a minute, why am I feeling this way? Like, especially when you identify, like, I'm not a hateful person. I'm not a mean person. But I'm getting very angry with so-and-so, and this person is really pushing my buttons. Stepping back, I'm like, wait a minute, that's not normal for me to feel this way. What am I missing? Like, it's stepping back and, like, dissecting the thing and taking the situation down to its base level. And, like, starting at the base level. Like, does anything in the base level of this situation, why am I here? Why do I show up? Does anything here, like, setting me off or making me uncomfortable? And then stepping up, like, what do I want from this situation? And going through that. Do I feel anything nervous here? And then if there's like some nerves showing up, like, is this person I'm angry with connected to like this? Do I feel like they could cause me to go offline or cause something to be taken from me? Whew. Like, you are definitely connecting, like, something's off, but I feel like the way you're connecting to it, they're like, you're having a mismatch. And if you don't see it for what it truly is, you're not going to be happy. You need to really go a little deeper, find out what the true problem is. You're right to connect that it's off, but it's like the way you're coming at it, they're saying it's going to cause you more heartache than help. So just reevaluate it, step back, third person, just really kind of go over it. Like, what's not right here? What's the truth that's not making me feel good? You got abundance here, and you got the alchemist. This may seem tricky, but what I'm getting from this is like, you can figure this out. You got this. The alchemist with it's here. The abundance is here. This is really good. But they're like, you're going to have to like really unearth it. You really got to work through this. You got to use your tools to the best benefit. If you think of this, like if I think of this in just like what's coming to me, I'm thinking of an alchemist, which is a magician, but I'm thinking like somebody looking at their books and looking at their resources and what do I have and like what do I want to do? Let me look at the books. Like, this book tells me how to do it. Do I have everything I need here? Wait, what do I need to get? How do I get that? It's not like you're just I feel like I like the alchemist card a lot in this because it's kind of like the magician would be like, done, and the alchemist is like, wait, let me look at what do I want? Okay, what book would help me do that? Okay, what do I need? Okay, found it. What do I need? I need this, that. No, I don't have that. So where do I get that? It's saying you gotta like figure it out, basically. If you figure it out and you really look deeper into this subject, you can have success. Why am I thinking that? I'm thinking of some readers I watch online, and I like these people. But sometimes I notice they give really good advice, and I notice sometimes they're just like, this is going to happen, good luck, and they move on. And I feel like this is another error. It's kind of like, I don't know why we're coming forward to that, because there's a lot of readers I like online, so I don't know what that's about. But I feel like it's saying, do the work. It's mental. You can do this. Figure it out, and you can have that success. But just saying this is what's happening and walking on from it, that's the error. Look deeper. Success is here. Good things are here. Why are we doing that little... I don't know. I'm seeing like somebody that I've seen online, and they're very talented, but I'm noticing sometimes they just... It's like I feel like they stop short of the goal line. And I guess it's not a big deal, because I'm not going to say who it is. It's a very gifted person, though, but I've noticed like they stop short of the goal line, and I see them do that every now and then, where they just... It's like they don't want to say something, almost like it'll upset people, and I'm wondering if that's the problem. Like, you can't stop just before the goal line, because, like, I could get this goal, but I think that's going to make them feel bad, so you just put the ball down and walk off the field. Like, are you, like, oh, I could have this. Well, I don't want to upset people, so never mind. Like, that's really what I feel is going on here, and I'm feeling that same energy, and I think that's why that's coming through, and, like, why they're giving me this imagery of this reader that I really do like, and is very talented. But, like, they stop short of the goal line, because they feel like they don't want to upset people. They're like, because I can feel it coming, and I'm like, I know what I need to do next, but I feel like they're not giving out the information because they don't want to upset people. Granted, you don't want to be the other side of the coin, and you don't want to be like, just smashing dishes all over the place just because you can. Granted, but within reason, because I feel like you're getting there, and it's kind of like something has to be unearthed, and it's almost like you don't want to look at it for somebody in a certain light, and you've got to like give yourself permission to see the darker side of somebody you actually do like, and see the truth of that person. In the reality of life, we all have good and bad sides. I mean, human. It's the point. Sometimes we don't like to see the dark side of somebody, like we feel guilty of that, but identifying that and seeing the truth, that's where you're going to get your abundance. This is a long reading. I apologize for that. But I feel like it's worth it. Let's keep going, because you're ending, and there's a space here. There is a space, which you can't see me move my arm here. But what I'm getting is like, this is really purposeful. You can get a lot of good out of this. It's not going to happen in 2 seconds. Like, I just feel like that's just bull. I feel like I don't want to sell you that line of bull. But it's not happening in 2 seconds, but I am noticing something here. It doesn't have to be difficult getting there. The difficult, I feel, is you stepping forward and just living through the truth of like what you're actually experiencing and seeing the truth of somebody else that you actually like. This seems to be the kicker of it. And it might be, I feel like it's weird. I don't know. I'm coming through like this metamorphosis of like redefining how you're seeing somebody. It's like you like this person, then you really don't. And then if you look a little deeper, you're like, wait, what don't I like about them? And then you're looking at the shadow side and more truth, like what their hang-ups are, and you're like, wait, it's not that they're doing this and they're causing me problems up here on the surface. It's what I'm thinking of them underneath it. And it's like, I know they have some negative traits here. Like, I have a friend who I very much like who's a manipulator. And I know this person is. They're not a bad person. Actually, they're quite good. But one of the tools they use to move forward is manipulation. And I knew that. And I've known that, and I've seen that, and I always push it to the back. But it's like when you start seeing it and you start, like, that's like a trait personally, when I know that that's something somebody uses. That's just their natural breath of air. I don't know how else to say that. It's a little unnerving because like that's a trait of a person that I have a hard time being okay with because I feel like I have to constantly be on guard with it. And then when you realize sometimes that trait helps things, sometimes that trait does not. And I feel like this is one of those things, like you don't want to, like I don't like to think of somebody as a manipulator. I tend to have a negative connotation with that. It's hard for me to accept that sometimes that's warranted and sometimes that actually helps situations move forward. Like, that motivates people to actually move forward and it gets people to come together. For me, anyway, it's hard for me to see the positive side of that. like the word manipulation, like I feel like has a very negative connotation to it, and it's hard for me to get to a positive part with that. But like when you see it in its positive energy, bringing people together, getting people to work together, and moving a situation forward in a positive way, like it's just kind of like, because some people, I don't know, it has a positive side to it. It's just still, I'm struggling with it, still struggling with it, but I get it. It's fine. But they're saying seeing the beauty and the truth and the success that comes from something that you utterly, like for me, I'm like, I don't like that trait. It bothers me. And it's hard for me to be okay with it. But I feel like once you see the truth of it, and you can, I feel like, and you get more comfortable with that person. I'm getting the Sun card on your side. Like, you get much more comfortable, you feel more secure. It's identifying a trait and realizing, like, for me, this person that I like, that's just literally, they do it constantly. Like, they literally do it constantly. And realizing that it's not with bad intention, but it's just who they are. Like, I don't know, I see it better now. And, like, I don't know, I feel like I can put out fires easier. I don't know, I feel like I'm more connected and understanding where things are going. And I understand, like, how this person is viewing things and where they think they should go. Like, I realize it's like going back to the root and realizing, like, if other people are getting upset or something is moving forward in a weird way, like, I realize to go back to the root of it now. And I always have, but I wasn't realizing, like, there's all these things set up moving forward already. Like, that's the thing. It's kind of like the current has been moved in different ways. Like, there's a lot of people moving in the same direction. And when it starts going a little wonky, realizing you got to fix where it's starting from first, and that person has to realign things. I'm just feeling it's something similar for you, whoever's watching this. Like, it's like understanding the actual root of a situation and understanding, like, what's really happening gives you the standing to, like, oh, that's why this is moving forward. That's why this is going a little strange. If I just try to keep going to these little pieces in front, it just never seems to correct. But if I go back and realize this is the root of the problem, and I can actually start dealing with that, I have to first fix that. And then once I fix the root, it'll go out to the branches and leaves at the end of the branches. I think that makes sense. So you start with the root. Like, you have a lot more success here. Like, it's like, that's what this whole situation is. You originally got involved with something. It feels a lot better once you realize the root and what the actual root is doing. It's kind of like, at this point, if this is hitting with you really strongly anyway, if you're still watching, because I feel like I'm yammering. If you're still watching, I feel like you know that something isn't right. You chose to get involved with this situation. You think you know it's wrong, but it's not making you feel good. It's just making you more frustrated. That's the key. If you think you know it's not right, but it just seems to make you more and more frustrated, they're like saying you're half on. You know something's wrong, but you're not connecting with actually what is wrong. So, like, look deeper. If you actually connect to what is wrong, you identify what the truth of the root is, you can actually deal with that. That puts you in a position to actually change things and move things forward. Dare I say, maneuver things the way you want them to be. It's kind of like things are going wrong, and now I know where the root of this is. If you know where the root is, all you have to do is go to that part to change things. If you change things at the root of a situation, it goes out to the branches and out to the leaves. All the leaves. You don't have to go from leaf to leaf to leaf and just fix every leaf. You go to the root, you fix the roof, and that fixes everything on its own, naturally. This is very, very interesting, and this is why I said I don't see this happening in 2 seconds. I know that the Eight of Wands is here in the environment. I feel like what this is actually saying is once you identify the root of the problem and you start dealing with the root of the problem and you start fixing things at the root of the problem, what you're going to see is, like, it takes some work to fix that root, but you don't have to go running out to the branches and the leaves at the end of the branches. You fix the root and the tree naturally starts fixing itself over time. And I feel like it's going to seem like it's quicker than it actually is. I'm getting, like, this tree root branch feel. There we go. I know that this Eight of Wands is speed and travel and all the other good stuff, so I know. But it's not how I'm feeling it for this one. I feel like what this is saying is, like, it'll travel out a lot quicker. If you deal with the root, it'll fix itself and it'll go out quicker. I feel like, I just don't feel like this is a quick finish, because it's Pisces. I just feel like what they're saying is, like, it'll naturally start taking care of itself. It'll fix itself a lot faster than you than you going from branch to branch to branch to branch to branch to fix every leaf. You know what I mean? This will fix itself a lot faster if you deal with the root. Are we good? That was a long one. For those of you to hit with, I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. I'm going to shut this down here. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.